Alright folks, thanks for stopping by. Let's talk about our holiday trade. First up is Apple. Apple, as we can see, is continuing to push higher. Alright. We know we got our support here now at 237 as we tested it twice. Third time, push through, close at that support area. Now it looks like we're going to come back, retest this support for confirmation, and we may chill around in this area for a little bit before continuing higher, possibly doing something like we did back here. As we can see, those moves that we were making are kind of the same move back here, so we may see something similar to that, whereas it may just keep doing the same type of push and pull. Alright, so our main thing is we want to see that that pullback. We don't want it to be that deep, but you never know if it does. Act accordingly, but I don't think that's what we're going to see. I think we're going to see maybe a mild pullback like this here, pull back into here and then continue our push higher. Let's see something here. This is what I think we're going to see that there. Okay. Until we find out where we're going to be our new high, then we can figure out where we're going to be, where our pullback's going to be too. Okay. So keep an eye on this area or this level at 237.23, and then we can kind of get a better idea what we're gonna do. But I'm looking at about 260 for the next resistance area or the next high, and then we'll adjust from there. But as you can see, since the split that it put back when, it's done nothing but gone higher, so we don't really suspect Apple to pull back anytime soon. I know enough people that, not that, the amount of people that I know are going to be enough to make that move the market, but plenty of people that I know swear by the product, so, and every time I visit the store, there's tons of people in there, so I don't think it's going to slow down anytime soon as far as the product is concerned. And even with this latest thing that I just got an email and a pop-up on my Microsoft screen. My Windows, I guess, apparently my Windows is going to expire on my computer, which is a perfectly good computer, but the Windows is expiring, and the computer that I have doesn't have enough computing power for the new Windows that's coming out. So I don't know, come October of next year, if I'm going to have to buy a new computer, or if I'm just going to be able to, work out of Windows 11 and continue to use my perfectly good desktop that I'm using now. So with that type of thing, and I've been considering that Mac Mini, so who knows, maybe I might just go ahead and change everything I got over to Apple and just integrate everything that I have from my phone to my tablet. You know, my tablet's Apple, my phone's Apple. Only thing that's not is my desktop, which is HP, which is a really good desktop and lots of memory storage and whatnot. But it sounds like Microsoft is going to force me to make a decision, so we'll see what happens next year in October. But anyway, like I said, if that becomes the case, most likely I'm going to go ahead and and just do all things Apple. So we'll see what happens. But I'll update you on that next year. All right, next up is ADDYY, which is Adidas. And as you can see, Adidas has been steadily moving higher. We got choppy moves. It's pretty choppy. This is a 5-year chart. It's run into some resistance here in this area, where as you can see back here, it had a little gap in that area in the past. So that area is an area for concern. I'll give it a 3 for now because we don't know how it's going to act just yet. We may have to adjust her, but that's just a zone for now. Okay, so but we do know that it hit that area there and got knocked down considerably. Alright, so now it looks like it's headed to retest it. So keep an eye on Adidas. If it can get above 134.78, it should try to run back up to $200. Didn't work. Next up is Amazon. And of course, everybody knows about Amazon, right? It just popped off really good. Amazon's going to be a constant winner for me because that's pretty much where I shop. Most likely it's gonna, let's see, if it does pull back, you can, I mean, it's Amazon, so buying the dips, right? Okay. So if we do get a pullback, maybe back into here somewhere, and then the push again. Oh, come on, you. All right, so that's what we'd like to see. So our gold is about $250 before we see anything major, but currently 227 is our high, and we'll see what happens on Monday morning. ANF, which is Abercrombie and Fitch, and you can see it's been pushing higher. Got a little pullback here. Ran into some resistance at around 196.99 and pulled back quite a bit from there. But after that push up, that was quite a bit. I'm sure there was like a lot of profit taking right in here, and they were like, woohoo, happy days are here again. Alright, so 196.99. Make that white for the new high. Alright, so that's where we want to go back to at 151, a $40 move back to retest that 196 area. If we can get that happening, that'll be a nice little $40 move. And it looks like right now, currently, um, pull back to the moving averages. Moving averages are holding as support. So we got this nice little jet stream going here that's keeping it afloat. So what we want to see on Monday is a green bar taking this stuff out and going back to retest that 96.99 area. It's a shopping weekend, right? So, and it's the 7th of December, so we ain't got too many more days left till Christmas. What's that, about 22 more days? My math not so good. Something like that. 20 days? Yeah, 22. Actual days, not working days, not business days, but actual days till Christmas. So it's getting close, and these department stores should start really kicking in. And of course, you're not going to know where we're at for sure until the end of the year, and you start doing the tallies, and we should get a nice kick into the end of the year. But you gotta pick your horse early. We got Baba. Baba's in this range, and it's a pretty big range. Looking at currently at a price of around $85, and put in a nice little W here. Alright, around $85. We want to go back and retest at 121, so you're looking at about a $15-20 move. And be careful with Baba, because it's Chinese or something like that, or it's got to deal with Xi Jinping, Xing Ching, whatever he's gonna be doing to him. So that one's gonna be get in, get out, get in, get up, get out. Unless you're going short, you get in, go down, and get out. Don't linger too long. Next up is Bath and Body Works, which is put in a little gap there. So we first were talking about it down in here when it was bouncing around in here, not gapped up, which is a indication that there's a lot of buyers down in here. So we may end up having to come back down here at some point and close that window. So keep an eye on that. We won't know for sure. It may just want to keep going higher, which this one's not a long termer. This one's a holiday. Expect to see some volume coming in through the new year, and then after that, it's probably going to be bye-bye baby, back down to the falling off again. We'll see what happens. Alright. So that's your no man's zone there. Alright, so we want to get in some red bars in there, but we got our trade winds coming in, so we'll see what happens if the winds force it down or if it lifts it up. Next up is Costco. Nothing to be said about that. You can see the monster as it grows. If you're not in it, maybe you can catch the next split. But everybody I know talks about Costco. So Costco and Apple. I'm gonna make a list. Everybody I know. What everybody I know talks about. That'll be the next trade I put up to go with my holiday war, energy, and financial. It'll be what everybody talks about trade. Alright, with Costco, what's to be said? When you see some red, wait for the red to stop and turn green, and then you buy it. That's my take on Costco. And let her rip. Costco pays a dividend too. According to this thing, it says $4.36. per share. So that's not a bad dividend. Okay. Um, and of course they have their earnings coming up on the 12th. So should expect some catalysts happening in here. Either we're gonna get a nice sell or we're gonna get a nice pump up even higher on the 12th. So look out for that on Costco. Next up is Deckers Outdoor Corporation, and this company, they sell Hoka brands. I don't know if you heard of Hoka apparel and whatnot, and also the Uggs, and it's basically outdoor apparel. All right. Headquartered in California, as you can see, it's been steadily moving higher since 2021. It's just done nothing but going higher. Looks like they got a split. Did a split, 6-to-1 split on the 17th of September this year. So I didn't know they had a split in there, which is kind of a good sign, because 6-to-1 split at, alright, so let's see what happened. So 6-to-1 split on the 17th, and they were at about that price $157 maybe. The high was 157.16. So let's see. 157. Let's just say 157. 157 times 6. So they were about $900 at the time when they did the split. Alright, so now it wants to go back and retest at 9. So Deckers Outdoor, been nice to caught that back here at 138, and a $70 move already. So keep an eye on that one. We got a window open there, window open down here, but they closed it. Then it bounced, then popped open again. It came back and almost closed it, but it didn't. So here we are now, window open here. Alright, so look for continue move higher. If we get a pullback, look for a pullback to around $180. Alright, close that window. If we don't close that window and we continue higher, and that's what it wants to do. Alright. But we know that they have no problem with splitting the shares. Okay? When it gets to a certain point. And that'll close those windows once they do the split. So some of them anyway. Alright, next up, Dick's Sporting, which has been kind of jostling around in this area here. Lots of gaps going on in Dick's. It likes to gap up and close those gaps, and so it'll go back and forth. So it's going back to retest this 239 area, and then we'll see what happens from there. If we can get above it, close above and find support, then we look for going higher. If we hit it and it wants to sell off again, and look for a retest of this area of around $183. Alright, next up, GPS, which is Gap. And Gap, my information on Gap is taking a minute. I think it's when I was probably doing their maintenance thing, or my stupid internet's acting up again. It better not be my internet. They get a pretty chunk of change out of me every month. Let's go to something else and we'll come back and see if Gap is working out of that. HNNMY. H&M Hens and Maritz Clothing, and Stockholm County, Stockholm. Okay. Don't ask me why that's in here. Must have been something that popped up on my list. But I'm going to take it out. Let's not worry about that one. If you want to go look at it, be my guest. Next up, Lulu. Lulu popped up a nice little gap up, and then to retest that high of 398.22, got through it, but then it couldn't hold on. So it did close above 398, but we don't know what we got going on just yet until Monday morning when we open back up. All right, but we can see it was a nice movement. It was respecting the moving averages, and then hit a then it just kind of popped up. All right, so we know we got a gap in this area here, or a window here that needs to be reconciled, but then we also have an overhead window that needs to be reconciled. So first come, first serve. All right, run into some resistance in this area, so we'll see what happens come Monday morning. If we continue red, go back down and close this window before going higher, or if we're going to continue higher. My best guess was going to be that it's going to pull back, close this window, then go higher. Oop, wrong color, my bad. Wrong color. I got a window there. I don't know why I didn't just duplicate it. Sorry. Sorry for wasting your time. There you go. Alright. That's that window on Lulu. Next up, Macy's. Macy's has been doing pretty good. Getting a little bit of a pullback right here. We don't want to pull back below this $15.99. I asked ChatGPT earlier about Macy's, and it said Macy's is going to be stuck around $16, but I think it's going to go higher. I think we're going to retest this, close this window and retest this $20.32 area. But it might not do it by the end of the year. It may do it, by February next year. Alright, so keep an eye on that on Macy's. Next up, MC Moelis and Company, banking, advisory area, mergers, acquisitions, recapitalization, restructuring, capital markets, other corporate finance matters. Alright, don't know why that's in there. Let's say goodbye to Moelis. And next up is Nike. And Nike, as you can see, is in this little range here. Got the trade winds coming down overhead, pushing down on it. It needs to get up through that, get up through those winds, and find some support to continue higher. It's got a lot of overhead resistance coming in on Nike also. So Nike may continue to sell off. It's got it's got a dividend payout on the 2nd, but that it paid out already, and it has its earnings on the 19th. So watch out for the earnings on Nike. Might be a good catalyst to either go low or go high. My thoughts: Nike this time of the year. Usually the store is doing pretty good, so maybe into next year we might see some from the profit that it makes during Christmas. But right now it looks like a sell to me. Alright, next up, AON, which is on. They sell shoes, I don't know if you've seen them. Type store. And currently they run into some resistance at $60. So that's our high and our goal from here, 60.12. Alright, you want to get back up and retest that high and see if it's enough to keep us fly. Alright, I'm going to get a little bit of pullback in here. Let's see how are the pullbacks. That's a pretty big one. That's a pretty one. Alright, so we got a push up, pull back. Got a nice little fat green bar here. Alright, and it pushed up again. There's another store that looks a lot like that. Who was that? Anyway, got another pullback, pushed up again, pull back a little bit deeper, and then we pushed up, pull back about the same distance again. Now it's pushing up into this resistance area. Alright, so our resistance area may be enough to push us back down into this area to retest for support. Alright, so we're going to put a support right here. It's not a confirmed support area, so keep an eye on it at about $52, so that's about an $8 pullback. Look for, our reds and then our green and take it out, and then we can start going long again. Alright, so but I have a feeling if anything, that's going to put us in that area. Alright, I don't think we're going to come back into this range again. It's possible that we will, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. Alright, so yeah, 52, look for a pull back into the 52 area before retesting high. It actually has some pretty good resistance in here at around 53. So, alright, so keep an eye on that. But as you can see, the store has been steadily moving higher. It's got our trade winds below, keeping it afloat. Next up, Starbucks. And what's to say about Starbucks? It's up above this support area. Look for some support at around $97. Huge gap up down here at $76. So keep an eye on that for support at 97 and maybe continue on through, but be careful, this window is huge and it's going to have to be reconciled. Next up, Skechers, and Skechers finally is doing the thing after a long wait. Got a little window open here. Got through the trade winds, and now it's starting to come back and retest this $69 area for support. If it holds, look at a retest of 75, and then see where we go from there. Next up, Target. And as you can see, Target is not doing so good. Got a gap down here. What's the low there? 154.01. It's so funny the way that works. 154.01. Showing right. 3, 5. Okay. So as we can see, that where it gapped down at is a resistance / support area. Gapped up, came back down, hit that area, gapped down, went back up, retested that area, sold off, went back, retested that area, sold off, went up, had the gap over it to go higher, and then it just pulled back right back to close that window, closed it, went up, resistance again, went up, hit more resistance again, went up, couldn't get through it again, and sold off, and then it gapped way down here. Alright, so Target is a real freak. Be careful with it. High of 129.06. Alright, right there. 129.06. Alright, make it gray for a window. Alright, so that is really the window you want to be operating in. Okay, so we know we want to go back and close that, so you can probably get in and ride it up till it shuts that window at 154, and then maybe get out of the way. Because no telling what's going to happen with this one. You can see how sporadic it is. There's no rhyme or reason. Alright. I know Target had to deal with a lot of theft back after COVID, when they were allowing people to just walk in and walk out with shit and not do anything about it. So that's supposed to be changing, so maybe Target can recoup here in the future. But right now it's let me finish there. Right now it's it's in the sell zone. It's in the down market, and be careful with Target. Next up is TJ Maxx. TJ Maxx. Not TJX. They, where did I see that? I believe they own TJ Maxx, which is another clothing store or whatnot. I think it says in there somewhere. Anyway, this one's Farmington, Massachusetts. It's apparel clothing, and as you see, it's been steadily moving higher. Closes window that it opened back here, so it's still in a decent uptrend. Ran into some resistance at 128. Oops. 128. Which is also our high. Pull back a little bit. Now it's going back to retest that 128, and we'll see what happens, if it can get through it, or if it's going to pull back even harder to get a little more pull back even harder to gather the troops to go back and fight that battle again at 128. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. Okay, if we get above, come back, retest for support, and then continue higher. We'll see what happens with that. But currently, resistance at 128 on TJX. Tilly's, I may want to go short on it. I mean, Tilly's it may get a little bounce into the end of the year. But right now, it's definitely in a downtrend. It's definitely in a down market, and it may continue to sell off. I was talking with my daughter, and she says that she doesn't even shop there anymore. That was just more junior high, high school, blah blah blah. And so I don't know if the kids are still shopping there at this store, but looking at the chart on it, I'd say probably not. That was more of a skateboard type store, skateboarders. And yeah, as you can see, Had a high of 21, but now it's back into the down market and been selling off. So it may even push down and back down into here, $1.94. If it can't push higher, it may continue to go lower and retest this $1.94 area. Right in there. So yeah, and this bar right here is a good indication that this area is a good, strong area with support and resistance. Right? 'Cause it took a lot to get through it. And it took so much that it just kept going higher and higher. Alright, next up, UA, Under Armour. And Under Armour, I'm expecting Under Armour to take off at some point here soon. This is the monthly chart right now. And you can see we got a nice green bar here, a little red pause, and then we put in another green bar, retested this previous high here at 10:57, ran into some resistance and pulled back. Now it's kind of sitting in this $9 area right now, accumulating. So keep an eye on that. But yeah, Under Armour might start moving here into the end of the year. Almost a little fry pan bottom looks like there too on the monthly. But on the daily, yearly, as you can see, it's continuing to go higher. There's our fry pan bottom there. Pull back and then now it's pushing higher again. But we're running into some resistance at $9, and we'll see what happens come Monday morning. Next up is Ulta, and as you can see, it bouncing around and it gapped up here. So the winds, it had to get above those trade winds. The only way it could do it was to gap up. So look for a little pullback into here, close that window, and then a retest of this $428 area, and then check it for some support, and then go back and retest the 464 area. And once it gets through that, pull back, check for support. Then it's got that window that's opened up to $518, and there you should get some slow moving up to retest that, and to finally close that window that it opened back here on the April 3rd. Alright, next up is VFC, VF Corporation, Denver, Colorado, and they do outdoor active workwear also. And handbag, luggage, footwear, things of that like. I don't know if you heard of Timberland boots, but Timberlands and whatnot. Timberland used to be hot for a while there. I don't know if they're still wearing them now. I don't wear them anymore. Anyway, so we got a little window opened up down here, but I don't think it's going to really affect us. I'm not going to mess around with that right now. We got a bigger window that didn't get closed over here. It tried to come back a little bit, but kept pushing it up. So the buyers in there. So let's retest this $20 area, see if it holds. Continue to go back up to retest this $23 area and continue higher if possible. 24.32 is our overhead. Or is our next target for resistance, and if we can get above that, then it should be off to the races and continue higher. And by that time, we should have our trade winds underneath pushing us higher. the wind beneath our wings, per se. And then, of course, last but not least, Wally World. And Wally World, as you can see, has been on a tear. Got some windows open that it hadn't reconciled, but it continues to push higher. So, next stop, $100, and yeah, it's starting to slow down though. You know, some nice little bars, and then now they're getting choppy. So, and get above this new high and make it support. We'll see. We'll see what happens on Monday morning when we open up, and but we do know that was our new high of 96.18. All right, and this previous high didn't even do much of anything. We'll leave that there for now, though. All right, I think that was a little slight gap anyway. I don't think that was our window open right there. A little slight window. That's much ado about nothing. All right, so that's it on our update for our holiday trades. There's quite a few you can pick from and get into, and some of them can be even long term, really. You know, a lot of them are not too bad. You know, that's on you what you decide to do. I know I can't wait for Costco to get a split and come down in price, because I'm jumping all over that when it does. And if it ever does split again, I'm going heavy on it. Just like my Chipotle play, I'm going heavy on Chipotle too right now. And I'll probably back off on it once it gets to like around $100. You know, I'll probably slow off and maybe only buy one on each pullback at that point. But I like to, get as much as I can when they're under $100. Once they get above $100, then I kind of back off and find my next pick. So of course by that time, by the time Costco gets to the 100, all these other ones like Amazon and all that other stuff, they're probably going to be doing splits and stuff. I really think Chipotle is going to move a lot faster than that, but we'll see. Right? Because they just did a 50-to-1 split at the $3,000, so that's a huge freaking split, 50-to-1. So, people are going to be right back into that. So Chipotle's got a lot of money. So I suspect it's going to continue to move higher. And that's what you want to look for, those kind of companies that are going to be around for a minute and they're going to continue to push higher. So I'm going to put together that list. What's that trade? What people are talking about trade? Something like that. I forget what I was going to call it. We'll give it a clever name or something. But anyway, thanks for stopping by. I hope it's not too long. I'm going to try to make it a little bit shorter as I go in and edit. But hopefully you got some good information here. Like, comment, subscribe, and to be careful out there because these markets are crazy.